The smell hit me first, sharp, smoky mesquite curling through the air, tugging me out of my routine like a rude shout. I stepped off my porch, boots crunching on gravel, and squinted toward the pasture. A haze rose over my green hills, blending with distant laughter that didn't belong. My land, my sanctuary of rolling fields and hard-earned peace, was a mess of folding tables, gleaming grills, and strangers clinking crystal wine glasses. A high society barbecue had erupted on my farm, uninvited and shameless. In the center stood Karen, the HOA queen from the suburb miles away, her oversized sun hat flapping as she barked orders with a cocktail in one hand and a clipboard in the other. She once nagged me about painting my barn on my land, outside her precious jurisdiction. Now she'd taken over like she owned the deed. I stormed forward, pulse quickening with every step. A dozen HOA types milled around, sipping fancy drinks, treating my fields like their personal country club. Steaks sizzled on a grill, my steaks from my cattle raised and butchered by my hands. Two kids yanked tomatoes off my vines, tossing them like toys, while others plucked peppers and herbs I'd spent months tending. My stomach knotted, a slow burn rising in my chest. "Excuse me," I called, loud enough to slice through their chatter. Heads turned. Karen blinked at me, irritation flashing across her face like I'd crashed her party. "Oh, Jake," she cooed, voice syrupy with fake warmth. "So glad you could join us. Isn't this lovely?" I stared, half expecting a punchline. "What the hell going on here?" I asked, keeping my tone even despite the fists balling at my sides. She sighed, dramatic as a stage actress, and waved her drink. "Oh, don't be so tense. It's just a little neighborhood get-together, bringing the community together, enjoying the outdoors." "The outdoors?" I echoed, voice dropping low. "Karen, this is my land." She laughed, a tinkling sound that grated like nails on glass. "Well, it's not like you're using it. All this space just sitting here, it'd be a shame not to share." I took a deep breath, temper flaring. "You didn't ask." "Oh, come on, Jake," she said, rolling her eyes. "Do we need to be so formal? We're neighbors. It's a friendly barbecue. We even brought our own supplies." I pointed at the grill. "That's my beef." Her smile flickered, but she recovered fast. "Well, yes, just a few cuts. You've got plenty, don't you?" My jaw tightened so hard it ached. "And my vegetables." I nodded at the ravaged garden, tomatoes smeared on the ground, herbs trampled by designer shoes. Karen shrugged, casual as if she'd borrowed a pen. "Jake, it's not a big deal. It's just food. We'll be gone in a few hours. You won't even notice." I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Oh, I'll notice." She sighed again, louder, exasperation dripping. "This is why community matters, Jake. You need to be more neighborly." Neighborly, the word burned, her audacity stoking the fire in my gut. She'd trespassed, stolen my stock, and now lectured me. My hands clenched tighter, but then I paused. A slow smile spread across my face, not friendly but deliberate. Karen's eyes narrowed. "What?" I shook my head. "Nothing, you're right, I should be neighborly." Her suspicion deepened, but she was too smug to see the shift. I pulled out my phone, dialed a number, and waited. 15 minutes later, the rumble of trucks broke the air, big, dusty rigs rolling in, packed with my crew, farmhands, rough and hungry, the kind who worked sunup to sundown and ate like it. They piled out, stretching, sniffing the smoky air. "Smells good," Dale, a burly rancher, grinned, grabbing a plate. Karen stiffened as my people swarmed the tables, piling food-high steaks, burgers, sides, devouring her event with glee. I crossed my arms, watching her perfect party unravel. "Wait, who are these people?" She sputtered, stepping toward me. I gave her an innocent shrug. "Just neighbors. Thought I'd invite them to your community barbecue since we're sharing." Her face turned a furious red, but my crew was already in full swing, laughing and eating, turning her invasion into my triumph. Oh, and before we dive deeper into this wild clash, please like this video and subscribe for more crazy tailies like mine. Karen's perfect barbecue crumbled before her eyes, and I couldn't have scripted it better. My farmhands tore into the spread like a pack of wolves, plates groaning under stacks of my stolen steaks and burgers. Dale, a grizzled rancher with hands like shovels, ripped into a rib, grease shining on his chin. "Damn, Jake, this beef's top-notch," he hollered, grinning wide. Ricky, a wiry kid fresh off a hay haul, slapped his back. "That, 'cause it's his, no store-bought junk here." Marta, a tough woman who'd wrestled calves since dawn, balanced a mountain of mashed potatoes and my garden peppers, whistling as she passed Karen. "Y'all HOA folks sure know how to throw a feast." Karen's jaw dropped, her cocktail trembling in her grip as she watched her pristine event turn into a free-for-all. Her HOA crew froze, clutching their wine glasses like shields, their polite chatter swallowed by the farmhands' roars of laughter. The air shifted, deep, belly-shaking guffaws echoed across my pasture, drowning out the clink of crystal. My crew didn't hesitate, grabbing 2 burgers at a time, clearing trays of sides in seconds. Karen spun toward me, her voice a strangled screech. "Jake, you can't just bring people here like this." I leaned against a fence post, arms crossed, savoring the view. "Sure I can. It's my land, remember? Just being neighborly, like you said." Her face flushed a shade of red that rivaled my tomatoes before her guests had trashed them. "They're eating everything," she hissed, gesturing at the vanishing food. I tilted my head, feigning surprise. "Huh, looks like it. Should have planned for a bigger crowd, Karen." She whirled to her HOA posse for backup, but they were shell-shocked. Pastel polos and sundresses no match for the chaos unfolding. A guy in a pink shirt tried to guard his plate as 2 farmhands reached for the last ribs, their elbows jostling him aside. A woman gasped as Big Joe, a giant of a man, snagged her imported wine bottle, popped the cork with his teeth, and chugged half in one go. "Mighty fine stuff," he said, wiping his mouth with a grin. The music flipped. Old Billy Joe yanked out a banjo, strumming a twangy tune that turned my lawn into a hoedown. Boots stomped, hands clapped, and a couple of my guys started wrestling, tumbling through the grass. Karen's guests recoiled, one stumbling into a table and sending appetizers flying. "Stop this!" Karen shrieked, her clipboard flapping uselessly. No one listened. If anything, the energy spiked. Marta grabbed a stiff HOA guy, trying to teach him a 2-step. He tripped, crashing into a chair with a yelp. Karen's fists balled, her face a mask of fury. "This is a disaster," I shrugged, calm as the breeze. "Depends who you ask, my crew's having a blast." She turned to her dwindling guests, voice cracking. "We can salvage this, stick to our side," but they weren't listening. A few edged toward their cars, clutching purses like lifelines, muttering excuses. Others stood paralyzed, too polite to bolt but too stunned to stay. Then Big Joe delivered the knockout punch. He snagged the last burger, took a massive bite, and sighed loud enough for the county to hear. "Well, that's it, cleaned them out. Got more, ma'am?" Karen's eye twitched, her composure shattering. "No," Joe patted his gut. "Shame, could have gone for seconds." That broke them. The HOA stragglers snapped, grabbing empty plates and sprinting for their SUVs, tires kicking dust as they fled. In minutes, Karen's elegant barbecue was a graveyard, trampled grass, overturned chairs, spilled drinks littering my field. She stood alone in the wreckage, shaking with rage, her sun hat askew. This is," she stammered. "Fun," I offered, smirking. Her glare could have sparked a fire. "You ruined it." I stepped closer, voice low. "No, Karen, you ruined it the second you trespassed and stole my food." She opened her mouth, ready to fire back, but nothing came. For once, she was speechless, her smug certainty buried under the chaos she'd unleashed. My crew, bellies full, slapped each other's backs, thanking me for the meal as they packed up. The last HOA cars peeled out, leaving Karen stranded in the dusk. She turned to me, venom in her eyes. "This isn't over." I grinned wider. "Hope not." She stormed off, heels sinking into my dirt, the setting sun painting her retreat in gold. My farmhands laughed, banjo notes fading as I surveyed the mess. "Best barbecue ever," I said, shaking my head. Peace wouldn't last, Karen wouldn't let it. The farm settled into an eerie quiet after Karen's barbecue disaster, the trampled grass and empty plates the only proof of the chaos. I figured she'd storm back the next day, armed with a lecture or a new scheme, but 3 days passed, nothing. No calls, no smug visits, just silence. Too much silence. It gnawed at me like the calm before a storm. Then on the 4th morning, I found it, an envelope in my mailbox, crisp and official, stamped with the HOA's logo. I tore it open by my truck, scanning the words, and a slow, incredulous grin spread across my face. Karen had filed a formal complaint, demanding $30,000 for emotional damages, $5,000 for food loss, and $10,000 for reputational harm caused by my disruption of her private event. I whistled low, shaking my head. She'd lost her mind, trying to charge me for food she'd stolen from my own land. I called Doug, my lawyer, a no-nonsense guy who'd tangled with HOAs before. I read him the letter over the phone, and he chuckled deep and dry. "That's cute. She's got guts, I'll give her that. Want me to shut it down or you got something cooking?" I grinned, leaning against my truck. "Oh, I'll handle it. Just get the paperwork ready." He laughed again. "Don't burn the place down, Jake." I hung up, already plotting. Karen wanted to play dirty. Fine, I'd show her how the game worked. By mid-morning, I was at the county office, filing my own complaint. trespassing, theft, property damage. Unlike her flimsy nonsense, I had proof, security footage of her crew raiding my garden, eating my beef, trampling my land. I listed witnesses too, my farmhands, ready to swear she'd invaded without a word. Then I added the kicker, an invoice for $35,000, the cost to cater 100 people with my livestock and produce. If she wanted a fight, I'd hit back harder. I made sure her copy landed that afternoon, hand-delivered by a courier who caught her mid-rant on her porch. She ripped it open, her face twisting as she read, and I watched from my field with a smirk. Word spread fast. By evening, my phone buzzed with calls from HOA members, voices nervous, pleading. "Jake, can we talk this out?" one said. "Karen's dragging us into a mess." Another whined. I didn't budge. "You ate my food, trashed my land, talk to her." They hung up, flustered, and I knew the cracks were forming. Karen's little empire wasn't built for this. Her suburban minions weren't rich enough to stomach a real lawsuit. She overplayed her hand, and they were scrambling. 2 days later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Karen, a shadow of her usual self, hair mussed, dark circles under her eyes, that smug grin replaced by a tight, forced smile. "We need to talk," she said, stepping forward like she still owned the place. I blocked the frame, arms crossed. "Guess so," she exhaled, sharp irritation flickering. "Look, I'll admit things got out of hand, but this lawsuit, this invoice, it's ridiculous. We're neighbors, Jake. Do we really need courts?" I tilted my head, letting her squirm. "Didn't want to, but then you demanded $45,000 for a party you threw on my land without asking." Her smile twitched, a crack in her armor. "That was a mistake. Maybe we drop everything, move on." I pretended to mull it over. "Tempting, but here's the thing, Karen, I don't start fights I can't finish. You do." She bristled, voice rising. "Jake, I can't pay $35,000. I gave her a slow, steady look. "Sounds like a you problem." Her nostrils flared, hands clenching. "You want to be the petty farmer who sues his neighbors." I grinned wider. "Nah, you'll be the HOA nut who bankrupted her club over stolen beef. Your people are already bailing, aren't they?" Her lips pressed thin. She knew I'd hit the mark. The HOA wasn't some elite fortress. It was middle-class homeowners who'd wanted neat lawns, not legal wars. She dragged them into quicksand, and they were clawing out. I leaned in, voice dropping. "Tell you what, drop your complaint, pay for my food, and I'll withdraw mine." Her eyes darkened. "That's still $5,000, I shrugged. "Better than 35 grand. She stood there, tense as a coiled spring, then nodded sharply. "Fine." 2 days later, the payment hit my account, $5,000 exact. I kept my word, pulling the lawsuit, but the damage was done. Karen's reign was teetering, and I just lit the fuse. She didn't see the real storm coming, not yet. Karen's $5,000 landed in my account like a grudging surrender, but I knew her too well to think she'd slink off quietly. The HOA vote came a week later. She was ousted as president, her own members turning on her after the barbecue fiasco and legal threats. I heard it from Dale, who'd gotten the scoop from a buddy in town. "They're calling her the Beef Bandit," he chuckled, slapping his knee. I grinned, sipping a beer on my porch as the sun dipped low. The farm was mine again, quiet, orderly, the way I liked it. But that silence felt too good to last. 3 days after her fall, I caught a glint of metal near my fence line, survey stakes, freshly planted, unmarked. My gut twisted. Someone was sniffing around my land, and I had a damn good guess who. I called Doug, my lawyer, the next morning. "Stakes showed up, no notice, no names, smells like trouble," he hummed, thoughtful. "Could be zoning scouts or developers. Karen's HOA crowd might have stirred the pot. I'll dig into it, keep your cameras rolling." I hung up, unease creeping in. That afternoon, I rode my ATV along the property edge, counting 10 stakes total, each hammered deep into my soil. No trespassing signs already dotted the fence. Hadn't stopped Karen before, and now this. By evening, Doug called back. "Found something. County records show a filing last week, request to rezone your stretch for commercial use. Guess who's listed as a consultant?" I gripped the phone tighter. "Karen." "Bingo," he said. "She's not done, she's pivoting." I paced my kitchen, piecing it together. The barbecue wasn't just entitlement, it was a test, a flex to see how far she could push. Now, kicked from the HOA, she'd latched onto something bigger. I pulled my security footage from the past week, nothing obvious, just deer and wind, until a grainy clip from 2 nights back showed a figure in a hooded jacket planting a stake near my north gate. Too dark to ID, but the stiff, bossy stride screamed Karen. She wasn't coming at me direct anymore. She'd gone sneaky, and that meant allies. I called Marta my sharpest farmhand. "Keep an eye out, someone scoping the land might get messy," she snorted. "Let M try, we'll hogtie M to the barn." I laughed, but the stakes glared at me from the field, a quiet threat. Next day, a slick black SUV rolled up my drive, tinted windows, city plates. A guy stepped out, suit crisp, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Grayson?" he asked, voice smooth as oil. I leaned on my porch rail, sizing him up. "That's me." He flashed a smile, too polished. "I'm with Pinnacle Development. We're exploring options in the area. Your land's prime for a retail hub. Ever thought of selling?" I crossed my arms. "Not once. It's mine, stays that way." His smile didn't budge. "Fair enough, but the county's rezoning push could change things. Might be worth hearing our offer." I narrowed my eyes. "Rezoning? That's news to me." He shrugged, casual. "Just chatter for now. Think it over, could be good money." He handed me a card and drove off, leaving dust and doubt in his wake. I called Doug again, fuming. "Pinnacle Development just showed up, talking rezoning like it's a done deal. Corinne's fingerprints are all over this." Doug cursed under his breath. "She's playing middleman, connecting developers to the county. I'll file an injunction to stall the rezoning. Your deed's clean, no easements. They've got no claim." I nodded, but my mind spun. That night, I sat on my porch, staring at the stakes glowing faintly under the moon. Corinne wasn't just after control. She wanted my land gone, carved up for strip malls and profit. The barbecue had been a jab. This was a full-on swing. Then the twist hit. My phone buzzed, Ricky, breathless. "Jake, you gotta see this. Found a flyer in town. HOA's holding an emergency meeting tomorrow. Says save Maple Springs from rural blight. Your farm's the target." I swore, loud enough to scare the crickets. Corinne wasn't licking her wounds. She'd rallied her old crew, spinning me as the villain to push her rezoning scam. I called Doug. "They're coming for me, public smear now. What's the play?" He didn't hesitate. "Crash it. Bring proof, deed, footage, everything. Show M who's bluffing." I hung up, jaw tight. Corinne thought she'd bury me in paperwork and lies, but I'd built this farm from dirt and sweat. She picked the wrong fight, and tomorrow I'd make sure they all knew it. Here, part 5 of the rewritten script, continuing the narrative with a gripping escalation, fresh twists, and exactly 800 words as per your instructions. The confrontation intensifies, keeping the language clear and compelling. Part 5. The morning of the HOA's emergency meeting dawned crisp and sharp, the kind of day that begged for quiet work on the farm. Instead, I was gearing up for war. Ricky's flyer burned a hole in my pocket. Save Maple Springs from rural blight, with my farm's silhouette slapped on it like a wanted poster. Corinne wasn't just after my land anymore. She was painting me as the enemy to sell her rezoning scheme. I loaded my truck with ammo, deeds, survey maps, security footage, even photos of her barbecue mess. Doug met me at the gate, briefcase in hand, his gruff voice steady. "They've got no legal ground, Jake. This is theater, call her bluff." I nodded, jaw set. "Let's make it a show they won't forget." The HOA clubhouse was packed when we rolled up, 50 suburbanites crammed into folding chairs, whispering over coffee cups. Corinne stood at the front, prim in a blazer, her sun hat swapped for a podium and a projector. She spotted me as I walked in, Doug at my side, and her smile faltered, just a flicker, but I caught it. "This is a private meeting," she snapped, voice tight. I held up the flyer. "Says community concern." That's me, I'm concerned. Doug stepped forward, calm as steel. "He's a stakeholder, he stays." Murmurs rippled through the room, eyes darting between us. Corinne recovered, plastering on that fake sweetness. "Fine, let's begin." The projector clicked on, showing a slick map, my farm outlined in red, labeled undeveloped hazard. Corinne launched in, voice smooth. "This land's a blight, unused, outdated. Pinnacle Development offers jobs, growth, a retail hub to modernize Maple Springs. We need rezoning to save our community." A few nodded, but others frowned, shifting uncomfortably. She clicked to a photo of my barn, captioned eyesore. "This farmer resists progress," she said, pointing at me. "He's holding us back." I stood, voice cutting through. "Funny you call it unused when you threw a barbecue on it, ate my beef, trashed my garden." Gasps broke out. Corinne's eyes narrowed. "That's irrelevant," I smirked. "Is it, or was that your first grab at my land?" Doug opened his briefcase, pulling out my deed. "This proves Jake owns every inch, no easements, no HOA rights. Rezoning needs his consent. You've got none." He held up the barbecue footage, Corinne's crew raiding my vines, grilling my steaks. "This is trespassing, theft caught on tape." The room buzzed, heads turning. A guy in a polo, Ted, stood up. You used his stuff without asking. Karen waved it off. A minor oversight, we paid him. I laughed sharp. After I invoiced you $35,000 and you caved. Took my food first, paid later. Doug added. She filed a $45,000 complaint against him, dropped it when he countered with proof. The crowd shifted, unease growing. Then came the twist. A woman near the back, Ellen, raised her hand, voice shaky. I work at the county office. Karen's consulting for Pinnacle. She's on their payroll. Whispers exploded into shouts. Ted spun on her. You're profiting off this. Karen's face flushed. That's a lie. I'm helping the community. Ellen held up her phone, showing an email screenshot. Karen to Pinnacle's CEO. Push the rezoning. I'll handle the farmer. The room erupted. You sold us out. What's Pinnacle paying you? Karen banged the podium. This is slander. But Doug was ready, tossing a stack of papers on the table. County filings, Pinnacle's rezoning request, signed by Karen as liaison. She's no president anymore, just a hired gun. I stepped forward, voice steady. You invaded my farm, stole from me, then tried to smear me to take it. Pinnacle's your puppet master. How much are they promising? Karen sputtered. You're twisting this. But the crowd wasn't hers anymore. Ted snatched the flyer, ripping it. We trusted you, Ellen nodded. She's been meeting developers for months, secret deals, pushing sales. A new voice piped up, Ricky, slipping in late. Found this in town, Pinnacle's buying lots cheap, flipping M for condos. Karen's their scout. He tossed a brochure onto the floor, my land circled as Phase 1. The room boiled over, chairs scraping as people surged toward Karen, demanding answers. She backed up, podium shaking. This is a misunderstanding. But no one bought it. Doug leaned in, whispering, We've got enough for a fraud claim, her and Pinnacle. I nodded, watching her empire crack. The meeting dissolved into chaos, but I'd made my point. Karen wasn't just a pest. She was a predator, and I'd just turned her prey against her. Here, part 6 of the rewritten script, advancing the story with a tense progression, surprising revelations, and exactly 800 words as per your instructions. The fallout deepens, keeping the narrative clear and gripping. Part 6. The clubhouse meeting shattered like glass under a boot, Karen's controls slipping as her own HOA turned feral. She stood at the podium, blazer wrinkled, barking denials over the uproar. This is a lie. I'm protecting Maple Springs. But Ted was on his feet, red-faced, waving the torn flyer. Protecting your paycheck, you mean? Ellen's email screenshot, Karen cozying up to Pinnacle, passed hand to hand, fueling the fire. Ricky's brochure hit the floor, my farm circled as Phase 1, and the room exploded again. She's selling us out. How much did they pay her? I stood by Doug, arms crossed, watching her flail. She tried to bury me, but the shovel was in her hands now, and she was digging her own grave. Doug nudged me, voice low. Fraud, conspiracy, Pinnacle's cooked if this holds. We've got her cold. I nodded, but my eyes stayed on Karen. She banged the podium, desperate. You're all twisting this. Jake's the problem. His farm's a blight. Ted laughed, bitter. Your barbecue says otherwise. You ate his blight just fine. Ellen stepped up, phone still out. I checked Pinnacle's filings. They've bought 5 lots already, all pushed by Karen after secret meetings. A woman in the back, Sue, gasped. My neighbor sold last month, said Karen pressured him, claimed the county'd seize it if he didn't. Whispers turned to shouts. She threatened him. What else has she done? Karen's face paled, but she doubled down. That's nonsense. I'm a consultant, not a crook. Ricky piped up, grinning. Consultant with a fat bonus, huh? That brochure's got your name on it, community liaison. He tossed another copy into the crowd, and Hand snatched it up. Doug pulled out the rezoning request, Karen's signature bold on the page. Signed 3 days after she lost the presidency. She's no HOA rep, just Pinnacle's errand girl. The room surged, people crowding her podium. Ted jabbed a finger. You fined me $200 for my shed, said it hurt property values. Was that for Pinnacle too? Karen stammered. No, that was bull, Sue cut in. My cousin got fined till he sold, then Pinnacle swooped in. The dots connected, and Karen's lies unraveled faster than she could spin them. Then the door swung open, a man in a gray coat, badge glinting. Detective Carter, County Sheriff's Office, got a call about fraud and coercion. My jaw dropped. Doug smirked. Called him this morning, figured we'd need backup. Karen spun, voice shrill. This is harassment. Carter raised an eyebrow, scanning the chaos. Looks like a mess to me. Ms. Larson, we've got questions, starting with Pinnacle's payments to your account. Her hands shook, clutching the podium. You need a warrant, he held up a paper. Got one, let's talk. The crowd parted as he approached, but Ted blocked her retreat. She's not running, not till we get answers, Carter nodded. She's not going far. Outside, patrol cars rolled up, lights flashing. Carter escorted Karen to her SUV, not cuffed but flanked tight. She shot me a glare that could have sparked a brush fire. You'll regret this, Jake, I shrugged. Doubt it. The HOA mob followed, yelling questions. Where's our money? Who else sold out? As Carter's team pulled files from her car, contracts, bank slips, Pinnacle memos, Doug flipped through one, whistling. $50,000 wired to her last month, consulting fee. She's deeper than we thought, I frowned. Enough to force sales, he nodded, and rig fines, look at this. A list names, fines, dates, matched Ellen's story. Homeowners hit hard, then sold cheap to Pinnacle. Back inside, the crowd demanded a vote. No HOA, no Karen, just us. Ted took the lead, voice booming. We dissolve it, start fresh. Who's in? Hands shot up, near unanimous. Ellen added, and we sue Pinnacle, get our lots back. Cheers erupted, but Carter re-entered, grim. Found a twist, Karen's not alone. Pinnacle's CEO's tied to a county councilor, Mark Tate. They've been rezoning rural plots for years. Your farm's just the latest. My stomach sank. Tate, Doug cursed. Explains the fast permits. He's got pull. Carter nodded. We're raiding Pinnacle tomorrow. Feds are sniffing mail fraud too, thanks to her HOA threats. The room buzzed, a mix of rage and hope. I stepped outside, dusk settling over my fields. Karen was gone, but her web stretched wide. Counselors, developers, a machine I'd accidentally kicked. Doug clapped my shoulder. Your barbecue stunt cracked it open, Jake. They're scrambling now. I stared at the stakes still piercing my land. Good, let's finish it. This wasn't just my fight anymore, it was ours, and we were ready to tear it all down. Karen's glare lingered in my mind as Carter's patrol car hauled her off, but the real storm was just brewing. Dawn broke over the farm, the survey stakes still jutting from my fields like taunts. Doug called early, voice clipped. Feds hit Pinnacle's offices overnight, seized hard drives, contracts, the works. Karen singing, pinning it on Counselor Tate and the CEO, Victor Walsh. I leaned on my porch rail, coffee steaming in hand. She's flipping already? Doug chuckled. Fast as a jackrabbit. Says Tate rigged the county votes, Walsh bankrolled it, her cut was consulting. They're tracing the money now. I frowned, staring at my land. Enough to take me down, he paused. Maybe if you hadn't fought, your footage and that meeting turned the tide. By noon, news vans swarmed town, cameras flashing outside Pinnacle's glass-front HQ. Headlines screamed, Development Scam Rocks County. Ted texted me a link, Karen on the courthouse steps, flanked by cops, dodging mics. She's toast, he wrote. I grinned, but it faded fast. Tate and Walsh weren't in cuffs yet, and those stakes on my land meant they weren't done. Doug pulled up an hour later, laptop glowing with fresh docs. Look at this, Pinnacle's bought 12 lots in Maple Springs over 2 years, all pressured sales after HOA fines. Tate signed off on every rezoning. He flipped to a memo, Walsh to Tate. Grayson's farm is key, push harder. My jaw tightened. Key to what? Doug tapped the screen. A mall anchor for their condo sprawl, your acres block the highway link. I cursed, packing the porch. They've been at this since before the barbecue, Doug nodded. Karen's stunt was a test, see if you'd bend. When you didn't, they went full bore. Marta rolled up on the ATV, dust trailing. Found a guy snooping by the barn, suit, clipboard, ran off when I yelled. My gut twisted. Pinnacle, she shrugged. Looked city, dropped this. She handed me a crumpled map, my farm split into grids, labeled Phase 2. Doug swore. They're still moving, legal or not. I called Carter, voice sharp. Got a trespasser, Pinnacle scouting my land even now, he sighed. Figures, Walsh is slippery, feds have him on fraud, but he's out on bail. I'll send a car. That afternoon, Carter's deputy patrolled my fence line, but the damage was done. Pinnacle wasn't backing off. Ellen called, breathless. HOA's old files just surfaced. Tate was president a decade ago, pushed a sale to Walsh then too. Members stopped it, but he's been at this forever. I clenched the phone. He's the puppet master. Looks like, she said. Karen was just his latest tool. Doug pulled county records. Tate's votes aligned with every Pinnacle win, millions funneled through fake firms. He's dirty as hell, Doug muttered. Feds are building RICO, racketeering, your farm's the domino that tipped it. I stared at the stakes, anger simmering. This wasn't just Karen's vendetta, it was a machine grinding us down for profit. Night fell and the community rallied at Ted's place. No HOA, just neighbors, 30 strong. Ted slammed the table. They find my shed till I nearly sold. Pinnacle's guy showed up the next day. Sue nodded, eyes fierce. My cousin's house, same deal. Tate's been rigging this for years. Ellen spread the old minutes and Pinnacle's map. Jake's land's their prize. Without it, the mall's dead. I stood, voice steady. They've got cash and pull, but we've got proof, deeds, tapes, their own damn words. We fight. Cheers erupted, fists pounding. Doug grinned. Class actions filed, Pinnacle, Tate, Karen, all named. Feds are watching too. Then the twist hit. Carter burst in, badge glinting, radio crackling. Walsh just fled, cleaned out his accounts, headed south. Tate's holed up, lawyering hard. My stomach sank. They're cutting losses, Carter nodded. Maybe, but Pinnacle's still active. Got a tip, hired muscle scoping rural plots tonight. Your farm's top of the list. Ted swore. They're sabotaging now. Doug grabbed his phone. I'll get an emergency injunction, block any moves till trial. Marta cracked her knuckles. Let M come, we'll greet M proper. Laughter broke the tension, but my mind raced. Walsh might have bolted, but Tate and Pinnacle had teeth left. We set watch, me, Marta, Ricky, rotating shifts. Midnight hit and headlights flared near the barn. Two figures crept out, shadows with crowbars. I hit the floodlights, grabbed my shotgun, not to fire, just to spook. Get off my land, I roared. They bolted, tires screeching, but not before Ricky snapped their plates. Carter traced it by dawn. Pinnacle hires, petty thugs. They're desperate, he said. Feds are closing fast. The fight was on, and my farm was the line they would cross. The headlights vanished into the night, Pinnacle's thugs fleeing my floodlights and shotguns bark. Ricky's photo of their plates hit Carter's desk by sunrise, and the feds pounced, two small-time hires singing about sabotage orders from a Pinnacle middleman. Walsh is gone, but Tate's still pulling strings, Carter said, rolling up to my porch at dawn. They wanted your barn torched, slow you down till rezoning stuck. I gripped my coffee, staring at the stakes still piercing my fields. Desperate bastards. Doug pulled up, grinning grim. Injunctions filed, court froze, Pinnacle's moves. Feds nabbed Tate this morning, caught him shredding papers. It's over, Jake. I nodded, but the fight's weight lingered. This wasn't just my win, it was ours. News broke fast. Vans swarmed the county, headlines blaring. Counselor developer busted in land scam. Tate's mugshot flashed beside Karen's, her plea deal painting her as a pawn, though no one bought it. Walsh was nabbed in Texas, cash spilling from his truck, extradited by noon. The feds unraveled it all, millions siphoned through fake firms, HOA fines as blackmail, rural lots flipped for condos. My farm was the keystone. Without it, their mall collapsed. Ellen called, voice bright. Pinnacle's bankrupt, assets seized. We're getting our lots back. Ted whooped in the background. No more fines, I grinned, relief washing over me. The stakes came down that afternoon, yanked out by Marta and Ricky, tossed in a pile like broken toys. The community threw a party, real this time, on Ted's lawn, no HOA nonsense. Burgers grilled, not mine. Kids ran free, and Sue brought pie that didn't last 10 minutes. Ellen raised a soda. To Jake, started with a barbecue, ended a war. Laughter rolled, but I waved it off. Started with Karen's gall, y'all finished it. Doug clapped my shoulder, handing me a beer. Class action settled, $200,000 split between victims. Your cut's decent. I shrugged. Put it in the fund, fix what they broke. Nods rippled, and Ted proposed a community pot. No dues, just us pitching in. It passed in a heartbeat, a new Maple Springs rising from the ashes. Then the last twist landed. Carter strolled in, badge off, grinning. Found something in Tate's files. Karen pitched your farm to Pinnacle 2 years back before the HOA gig. She's been at this longer than we knew. My jaw dropped. 2 years, he nodded. Tate vetoed it then, too risky. She waited, built her leverage, then struck. Marta whistled. Patient little snake, Doug laughed. Not patient enough, your farmhands ate her plan alive. The crowd roared, replaying the barbecue chaos. Big Joe chugging wine, Billy Joe's banjo turning her party into a hoedown. Best damn revenge, Ted said, slapping my back. I smirked, sipping my beer. She wanted neighborly, I delivered.